I'm meteorologist Scott Kaplan, 1620 94.5 WTAW.
We visit with the mayors on Wednesday. Bobby Gutierrez here this morning from the city of Bryan. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Scott?
Good, good. Just finished 2 nights with candidates from your council. Once again,
great.
We're going to see a lot of changes as far as elected officials, both in both cities and then on the county level as well. Probably been a while since we've had that much turnover, certainly in College Station and on the county.
Yeah, realigning those years where it's from a 3-year term to a 4-year term kind of shifted everything, and we have a lot of people up right now. So it's I just look back, we were all new 2 years ago. The whole council was basically brand new 2 years ago. So it's been it's a blessing and a curse. You have the history when you have the history of people who have been involved in a long time, and then you have the all the new stuff. But it's good ideas, fresh ideas, and built on a legacy of a lot of giving back.
Sure, and at the same time, the county said that they would give up their tax money downtown to help you with a TERS project that you've got.
The TERS project, the judge and the commissioners have been very, very good to us. They see that, they see the vision, and Judge Peters and I, we grew up in that. I mean, we were here back in the day when that was our mall. It was outside. You go in for the Woolworth, you go across the Potts Jewelers, you go across, everything that was down there was there. And Saturday morning was that time that you'd go and you see the four corners had the bankers and everybody's out on the street shaking hands, and it was a simpler, really good life. And you see that redevelopment and coming back over there right now. We're still missing a lot of retail in that area. We're going to try to push that, but this is the kind of thing the Commissioners Court, they see it too as well, and we'll get there. We're going to get there. We have some great projects coming up, and we'll see how it all rolls.
One of the other questions that I asked the candidates. Of course, you've already budgeted $350,000 to give to Brazos Transit District. Mm-hmm. But in return for that, what does the city want to see maybe BTD do differently than they do right now that it would benefit Bryan?
Well, you talked about that. You talked about the trolley and everything else. I know we've been in there, but and I guess the difference is there's a big difference in the demographic between Bryan and College Station and some of the counties and what BTD serves. I think there's a big value. I think there's a lot of people who utilize that thing to get to work, to get to from downtown or surrounding areas of downtown to their jobs at Texas A&M or wherever they work. Some, they talk about, well, there's nobody rides the bus in South College Station. When I was talking to BTS, well, there's a lot of people who work in those houses that actually ride the bus to get to those things, and people don't think about that. Now, they don't necessarily live in those houses and ride into town, but they live in South Bryan or North Bryan or wherever they are, and they get to their jobs, they're working, taking care of that stuff, and we can't forget those people either. So there is a service. Now, do we need to look at utilizing a little bit different? Maybe go to a smaller bus or maybe doing whatever? Yeah, absolutely. There's always going to be things that we can improve on. I think when we talked about this shuttle service, that would be from downtown Bryan to Midtown, from Midtown to Union Hill to Northgate to the hotel, MSC to Century Square, and then back around. There's a lot of people that live in the Northgate area that don't have a grocery store. The closest grocery store is going to be like farmers market. So it gets them to get their groceries and stuff like that as well. And they don't have to have a car, so it'll alleviate some of the congestion on the roads, and it helps both Bryan, College Station, and Texas A&M. So I think that would be a good thing, and I think that would not only serve for some tourism, but it would actually serve for people who need to get from those towers to downtown or to MSC or to Century Square or wherever.
Right. Well, I bring these things up because we did them on the forum, but quite honestly, we have people who won't listen to it and they won't know about that. So I figure it's a good time to talk about those. Now, the electric trolleys, those would be again an annual cost of about $125,000, I think. Mm-hmm. How many would there be, as you understand it, and how would those necessarily be utilized?
Well, those would be the two.
The two that you'll
talking about, and they'll be utilized for that. And we're trying to do a pilot program now to start that bus route. I've got to get with Wendy and find out, or Joe, and find out where we're at on that. But the pilot project would start that route because you can't just say it's open and then all of a sudden it's going to be successful. You got to start it. It's kind of like our third Fridays that we're doing right now, the Maroon and White Night. We get those things going. They're building. We had our last one last week, and it was phenomenal. I mean, the vet school did a phenomenal job of putting things together. Our group, our committee is phenomenal on that too. But we look forward to hopefully seeing. I don't want it to be 15,000 people like it is on First Friday. I want it to be 3,000 to 5,000 of purpose-driven people who want to be there and just kind of, it's an adult night. So here we are.
You get to show off things that they didn't know were there.
But if you look at what the services that BTD does and the amount of money that we're putting in and pitching into it, it's really a drop in the bucket to service some of the people who really need that help.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to a couple of other things. It was a year ago that the city approved a plan to build a tennis center in conjunction with Texas A&M. Really haven't heard much about that. Where do we stand with that?
Well, you hear me talk about this with the park and went on with the boardwalk and everything else. When we put something out for an RFP and somebody says they can do something for X amount of dollars, well, that's what I expect. If I tell you I'm going to do something, well, then that's what I'm going to do. So if you put something out there, let's just say it's $20 million, then you bring us back, okay, we're ready to start building, but now it's $27 million. Well, that's not okay. And then they bring you this picture of this grandiose thing. It's going to look like this, and they show it to you, and then, okay, we sell that to the public, and then they bring it back to you and go, well, it looks like a barn. And I'm like, that's not okay. That's not what you sold us, and that's not what the citizens are expecting. And I'm not going to let that happen on my watch. So start over again. And so a lot of this is me, and just not settling for what I don't think is the best. So it's got to look as good or better than anything you would put on Texas A&M. It's got to look as good or better than the Legends Event Center. And if it doesn't look like that, it's detracting from the area, it's detracting from what we're doing, and I'm just not going to allow that to happen. So they went back to the drawing board. They scaled it down a little bit, put some more beautification stuff in there, and now we're back on track again.
The thing I asked the candidates last night, and I'll ask you, this is park when it's all said and done. Mm-hmm. Sometimes parks are profitable, sometimes they're not. Is this going to be, when it's done, a revenue neutral or revenue positive or a negative?
Well, generally parks aren't supposed to make money. They're, never a negative, effect on what you're doing. But I think this park is a little bit different with Legends. It brings in the side stuff, the heads and beds, all the people who are coming in here. We just had a tournament last week, a volleyball tournament. It's like 5,000 people there. And they're here for 3 days. And so they're eating, they're sleeping in their hotels, they're doing all this stuff. I mean, we need a hotel there really bad. We need a hotel that will service that population. We need the doubles, not the king rooms, but the doubles, because you're having team sports and team play. It was never set out to be a profit generator. It was just, let's not lose money at the point where we're losing before, but it's actually generating money right now. So we're very happy, and it gives us stuff to make more beautifications on South College and Bombers Field, and as it transitions, or all that whole corridor.
Bobby Gutierrez with the Bear of Bryan. Finally today, as I was looking at capital improvement projects, getting ready for the candidates forum, I noticed we got coming up with $6 million that you've set aside for animal shelter. Tell me what that looks like and the timeline there.
So we're looking at that. We're going back through. It's still through the citizens part of it right now. We've approved that already, so we know we're going to build it. We looked at on Martin Luther King Boulevard over by Waco Street, and our facilities part over there is one of the spots that we've been talking about. This is a state-of-the-art facility. They're worried about noise and they're worried about stuff. This is not anything like that. This is going to be probably one of the nicest things out there right now. We have that Waco Street industrial stuff that we have going on with all the storage and the trucks and everything else. This would be more of a beautification project for that whole area.
Well, you got some space there too, and
got a lot of space.
Probably, and the access is better because you're right off the freeway. Would help from that standpoint.
Exactly, but the actual facility, the people who actually work there help design it. It's not just architecture. I mean, they help design. They look at all the stuff that they need and the stuff that we want, and then we look at how do we do this that's not impacting that neighborhood or not impacting anybody around for a mile. For sound, for everything else that's going on. It's really nice. I mean, looking at the thing, you're going, this could be that test thing for the rest of the country, that this is how you build it. This is how it should be, and this is the best case scenario, best practice.
Oh, okay. Anything else this morning?
No, just we're election season. We got everybody needs to get out and vote. We've got a great group of people. I was able to meet all the candidates. Of course, I know all the incumbents that are running right there, but then it's always good to have people in the process. Whoever they are, whatever their project is, and why they're doing it. But you've got these people who are they want to give back to our community, and everybody deserves a thank you that are in the process or going through the process. Whether you agree with their politics or not, at least they're putting themselves out there. So I thank all the candidates. I thank all the incumbents. We've got a great council, and I just tell everybody to be kind.
There you go.
Be the change you want to see.
There. Oh, I like it. All right, Bobby Gutierrez, Mayor Bryan. Thanks for the time this morning.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Visit with the mayors on Wednesday.
Does your sewing machine go clankety clank or bang 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 bang? If it does, you need to come on down to